Hello, this is Matt Truman. Thank you for watching Sunday Night Live. I've already had a couple of folks say they're going to watch this video a little bit later, and that's fine. Whenever you watch it, I appreciate you watching. I've got a lot of news stories for you folks, a lot of stuff that I've been looking through, especially here in Ohio, but we're going to go outside of that too. I got a Tucker Carlson clip I'm going to play. We're going to talk about Ukraine, Russia. Let's get started. I hope everyone's having a good Sunday. It is September the 11th, so we remember that, and that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to remember that. I have a little clip that I'd like to share with everyone, and all right, here it is.
American 11, are you trying to call?
The cockpit is not answering their phone. Our number 1 has been staffed, and our 5 has been staffed.
Hey, I'm going to call from Washington. I am in a situation with American 11, a possible hijack.
What's going on, Betty? The crap is erratic again. Problems very erratic. Betty, talk to me. Betty, are you there? Betty? Betty?
A plane that is
What?
the 737.
What?
Like the World Trade
Who are you
Center.
talking to?
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
United 175, New York. We have some problems over here right now. We might have a hijack over here, 2 of them.
Jules, this is Ryan. Listen, on an airplane that's been hijacked. If things don't go well, I'm looking good. I just want you to know I absolutely love you. I want you to do good. So happy.
Heartbreaking.
Same to my parents and everybody. And I just totally love you, and I'll see you later. Bye, babe.
What are those people going to do? All the elevators are blocked out.
Oh my God. So both towers are now.
Okay, now, I got an aircraft 6 miles east of the White House.
Crystal City, just north of Crystal City.
Just to the north of your town.
Yeah, stop all departures.
Pentagon just got hit. Don't put me in that. God damn, I can't even protect my NCA.
United 93, that traffic for you is 1 o'clock, 12 miles eastbound 370.
Negative contact, we're looking, United 93.
United 93, Cleveland, if you hear the center ident.
I got that piece of dog. Keep remaining to be. You have the ball, boys.
Tuesday, 9:47 a.m.
Hi, baby. Baby, you have to listen to me carefully. I'm on a plane that's been hijacked. I'm on the plane. I'm calling from the plane. I want to tell you I love you. Please tell my children that I love them very much. And I'm so sorry, babe. I hope to be able to see your face again, baby. I love you. Bye.
We're 56865. We have, I believe it is a Boeing 757. Can you see him up there, sir?
That's confirmed. It looks like he's rocking his wings.
Roger.
He's rocking back and forth.
We're 56865. I advise you stay away from that aircraft. Go north as fast as you can.
United 93. Have you got information on that yet?
Yeah, he's down.
He's down?
Yes.
When did he land?
He did not land.
Oh, he's down?
Yeah,
Down?
somewhere up northeast of Camp David.
Honestly, I just want to let you know I love you, and I'm stuck in this building in New York. There's lots of smoke, and I just wanted you to know that I love you always.
At number 2 World Trade Center, right. Lady was two that you were talking. We're not ready to die, but it's getting bad.
I'm on the 83rd now. I'm gonna die, aren't I? No. I'm gonna die. Liv, say your prayers. You gotta think positive because you gotta help each other get off the floor. I'm dying.
A new type of war. That's what it is.
There it is, folks. 9/11, 2001. So I was, just a quick story, I was delivering bingo products, and I was loading my pallets, and the warehouse manager comes in. I was 24 years old at this time. Warehouse manager comes in and says, "Hey, the World Trade Center's on fire." And from that point on, my life changed. I ended up, I mean, if you can look back there, I ended up in Afghanistan. Crazy, folks. So we'll never forget. I know there's a lot of folks that have differing opinions on 9/11, how it started, and all that stuff. I'm not going to get into that. I'm just going to say this. I remember the folks that died that day. It won't be forgotten. And all the folks that died after, fighting all the wars that our government put us into afterward. Anyway, 9/11, we shall remember. So let's change gears here a little bit, folks. This is Cleveland.com, an opinion post by Mark R. Brown. So I said I was going to talk about Ohio. Here it is, published September the 11th. Oh, you know what? I didn't share it. See? I gotta get used to all this. All right, so I'm going to share the article so you folks can see it. Let's try this. There it is. Hey, Ohio. How it's an opinion piece, like we said, how Ohio stacks the system against independents and minor party candidates. Mark R. Brown, published September the 11th, 2022, this morning. Podcasters. Actually, I listened to Tori's podcast. I don't know her personally, but I don't want to butcher her name here. She drops a lot of F-bombs. So I don't know. I listen to Joe Rogan from time to time, so I guess it's okay, I mean, to each their own. But I didn't really hear a lot of ideas out of her. But should that, and maybe I wasn't looking either, but should that disqualify you from the ballot? She collected all the signatures, right? Let's read this article a little bit, and we'll get a sense of what it's all about. Columbus, Ohio. Ohio's Republican Secretary of State Frank LaRose, last week removed, I'm not going to butcher her name, we'll just call her Tori, a Donald Trump supporter running as an independent candidate from the Secretary of State ballot because Maras threatened to draw Trump supporters from LaRose's re-election bid. LaRose's action comes as no surprise. No, it doesn't. The establishment Republicans in Ohio have this state on lock, folks. They have it on lock. They will fight you at every turn. So if you plan to run for office as a Republican, but a conservative Republican, not these rhinos like DeWine and LaRose. They're rhinos. They are rhinos. Super establishment Republicans. Get started early. Start thinking about it now. Start getting your groups together now. LaRose used and plan. Oh my, they'll throw the book at you. So start learning. Start reading all the election law. Start reading everything you can and doing whatever you can to understand how they'll come at you. You have to fight these characters, these establishment rhinos, the way they're fighting you. You may not have the money because either you're going to run as an independent or you're going to challenge them in the party itself as a Republican. All right. LaRose used Ohio voter protest law, which allows voters to protest candidates to do his dirty work. Morass needed 5,000 signatures and had collected no less than 5,010, according to local election boards. She was accordingly certified to the ballot last month. Yeah, so she was certified, and then what happens? What happens? The Ohio GOP then protested her candidacy, claiming through its lawyers from Bricker and Eckler that dozens of her signatures should be ruled invalid. So we had a candidate running as a independent who had signatures that were disqualified by LaRose's group, right? Because he didn't. His name was Neil Peterson. He was running out of Huber Heights, Ohio, my hometown. We had him on the podcast. You can go back. I don't know what podcast was it. I don't want to bore you. All right. You can look at Truman's Town Hall and find that podcast with Neil Peterson. We had him on the audio podcast. We actually just started doing the lives. I'm drifting off here. Anyway, let's go back to the article before I start going on a tangent. Ohio's GOP then protested her candidacy, claiming, all right, we read that, especially Ohio GOP then protested her candidacy, claiming through its lawyers from Bricker and Eckler that dozens of her signatures should be ruled invalid because Ohio law requires strict compliance with signature collection rules. Finding a dozen to throw out is not hard. I am going to look at something real quick because I just saw a post not too long ago that showed something very interesting, that there is an Ohio constitutional ballot coming up soon. Let me look for it. All right. All right. You know what we're going to do? I'm not finding it. I'm going to look at it. I know there's a constitutional amendment going to be on the ballot, and I don't want to butcher it. So I'm going to do more research. I know a little bit about it, but I don't want to talk about it too much. I'm going to do a little more research, and I'll bring it back to you folks next Sunday Night Live. Okay. So any small mistake can be suffice. Using a county rather than a city to identify one's residence, for example, is a common reason to throw out a signature. So is providing an incorrect date or using a new or different address from what is on file with election officials. Signatures that match file copies so perfectly they would be accepted by any bank can be thrown out for just about any reason by the hearing officer. Wow, folks, that's what we have here in the state of Ohio. Welcome. It's awesome. I love it. I'm going to have some water. Hope you don't mind. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. We have more articles from Cleveland.com. I'm going to share it with you right now. See, I can't get my fingers right. I'm reading this, The Great Reset by Alex Jones. Why not? I read Klaus Schwab's Great Reset. Might as well read his. I think Glenn Beck has a book too. I don't know. It's interesting. It's pretty good so far. Let's share the screen here. And I am going to bring up this article by from Cleveland.com, covering Northeast Ohio. This is a subscriber exclusive, so I almost subscribed to it so I could show you this article, but I didn't for now. If you are a subscriber, you can look at it. I didn't know if I subscribed to it, if I showed it on here, I didn't know what that was going to do. So I didn't, but we can read a little bit of it. The Ride-In Way to a Better Ohio by Mark Pukita. All right. I remember I went and watched him in Brookville. There was a big event at the Harvest Revival Center in Brookville, Ohio, where a lot of candidates came and they spoke. Of course, your establishment Republicans didn't show up, but he was there and he spoke. Very, very eloquent speaker, very pro-America, pro-Ohio, constitutional conservative. I love the dude. I voted for him, just so you all know. Anyway, so I'm biased to this article, right? Mark Pukita, that's what his name is. Mark Pukita, who failed earlier this year in his bid to become the Republican nominee for U.S. Senate in Ohio, is founder of the Grassroots Freedom Initiative. Hey, check it out. Dublin, Ohio. According to the Ohio Secretary of State's website, as of October 1st, 2021, Ohio had just under 8 million registered voters. Less than 2 million Ohioans vote in most of Ohio's primary elections. These are the 2 million Ohio voters who have a party affiliation, about 50-50 Democrat-Republican. The remaining 6 million are classified as unaffiliated, or what most Ohioans refer to as independents. That means about 11% of Ohio voters select the Democrat and Republican nominees. That's not a lot, folks. 11%. Party insiders control money and endorsements. Oh boy, do they. Having an almost unopposed ability to assure insider establishment candidates win primary elections. Boy, do they. Grassroots, citizen candidates in either party have almost no chance of getting to the general election by winning a partisan primary. And Ohio's election laws are almost completely skewed to keep independent candidates off the ballot in November. Huh. I just read an article, right? This makes so much sense, folks. Just that little bit. It makes so much sense. And we have to be aware of this. We have to be aware of this. Even if you're watching this and you're a Democrat. I love my Democrat friends. I love my Republican friends and Libertarian friends and listen, politics aside, I love you and I pray for you and I wish you would accept the Lord Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. But that's up to you. Anyway, in Ohio, the Republicans run things. They run it. Right? Don't they? So why are they worried about independent candidates, Neil Peterson, for one, or that Tory Moraz? Why are they worried about those? Why are they worried? They run it. They're going to, they can spend whatever. It's because so they don't have to worry about anything. They want to make it easy. They want to spend the money up front so they can breeze in. Folks, I think if you're a conservative like I am, I'm a conservative, right? Okay. I think we have to change things up in Ohio just a little bit to let these establishment rhinos understand that we're done playing their games. I think so. You can tell me I'm wrong if you want to. Let's see here. I'll share this article with you, right? This goes to show weak GOP. We got to be a strong GOP. If you're going to be a Republican, I flirted with the Libertarians for a while but they it's just not my bag. I mean, I still understand I still agree with some of their ideas and things, but the Ohio Libertarian Party, Libertarian Party in general, there's a lot of infighting. Whoa, a lot of infighting in the Republican Party too. Oh, well. All right, let's share this article real quick. This is interesting. The GOP is backing away from some tough abortion measures it once championed. No kidding. The GOP is backing away from things they champion, and then it comes about and they get scared. They're like, oh, we can't do that because then we'll lose votes. Stand on principle. Why don't people stand on principle anymore? I don't understand. Marco Rubio. Or I mean, this is bad. You shouldn't drink water on camera. Or you had what was it? Mark Zuckerberg. We're not on Facebook because they shadow ban me, so I don't put this on Facebook. Anyway, we'll all share it over there, but probably nobody will see it. Mark Zuckerberg. I should make that the thumbnail for this video. All right, the GOP is backing away from some tough abortion measures it once championed. An aggressive push by Republicans to pass tough anti-abortion measures is faltering in some state legislatures. And on Capitol Hill, the latest indication that many Americans are fed up with the extreme restrictions imposed since the fall of Roe v. Wade in South Carolina, West Virginia. They ended in a deadlock. So, there it is. You can read that article. UMAG, whatever that is. I don't know what it is. Is it credible? I don't know. But it's very true what they were writing there. Let's go. So, we have these weak Republicans. We have these rhino Republicans doing rhino Republican things. Republican in name only. I'm having fun tonight, folks. All right. All right. For those of you that got that, thank you. You're welcome. All right. Let's look at some of these rhino things. Okay. There's this guy that we have in Ohio as our governor named Mike DeWine. Let's not forget what old Mikey. Did you guys watch Joe Biden's speech when Joe Biden was in Ohio, and he called Mike DeWine Mike? Did you catch that? Hey, thanks, Mike. Oh, and I'm gonna pull up this picture. This is Mike DeWine and Joe Biden, right? Mike DeWine and old Joe. See if you can see it. Oh, look. Look how happy he is. Hi, Joey. Hey, Mike, you did great during 2020 and 2021. Right? We're going to show that. Here we go. We got to show it. I got to figure out which clip it is. Let's see here. There it is. And do. Here it is, folks. Here it is. Be ready.
Dr. Acton, who has done such a phenomenal job, just signed an Ohio Health Director's order. Dr. Acton just signed a stay-at-home order for all Ohioans. Other states have referred to this as shelter in place. We prefer stay at home. Either one, it's pretty much the same thing. And that order will be up online shortly. You'll have the opportunity to look at it.
Anyway, There's old Mikey. Old Mikey DeWine. Oh, that wasn't enough? You want more? Okay. Let's see here. I'm not going to comment on this. I'm just going to leave it as it is. Let's hear this one. Because if I comment on it, then, YouTube, they'll boot me. And I want these videos to go out for now. Let's see. Are we sharing? We're sharing. Okay. And we're sharing. And we're sharing. Here we go.
With or without a test, the virus is here. It lives among us. And we must be at war with it. And we're at war with a very, very dangerous and lethal enemy.
Wow. Dangerous and lethal. I'm going to leave it there. Right? We can't say much on YouTube. YouTube allows a lot, by the way. They allow more than Facebook, and I guess we're over on Twitter too. I don't know. All right, let's see here. We have a couple more. Excuse me. You're getting it all tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see here. All right, here's the rhino threatening us, right? Our rhino governor threatening us. Here's what's going to happen if you don't buck up and do your job.
Now let's turn to our bars, our restaurants, our fitness centers. If the current trend continues and cases
I hate
keep
to do
increasing,
this.
We will be forced.
Forced.
We'll be forced
to
close restaurants, bars, and fitness centers. We will look at this.
You can't be healthy in Ohio.
I'm very well aware of the burden that this will place on employees. I'm well aware of the burden this places on the owners.
No, you're not.
But these are places, candidly, where it's difficult or impossible to maintain mask wearing, which we know now is the chief way of slowing this virus.
Don't forget. Oh, Mike. Oh, man, we could play so many. Don't forget Mike DeWine during 2020. Don't forget him. Please don't forget him. And if you loved all that stuff, bless your heart. Lord have mercy. Let's see here. Let's keep on trucking. Next story. What is it? It is. You got that out of the way. Here it is. All right, so we're going to shift gears. We got the rhino stuff out of the way. Played a few things. That was all Ohio. We're going to shift gears to the war in Ukraine and play this video. Oh boy, it looks weird. Ukraine is pushing the Russians back. But we got to think, what is up Vladimir Putin's sleeve? Well, we've provided Ukraine equal the amount that Russia spends on defense, right? Just the United States alone. 60 billion plus. Russia, if you look it up, it's around 66 billion dollars that they spend on defense. Ukraine's starting to push them back. Here's that video. We'll play it for you.
Including the war in Ukraine, which took a significant turn this weekend after a lightning advance from the Ukrainians liberated a strategically important city in the northeast and could stop Russia's goal of taking eastern Ukraine. Here's ABC's Tom Sufi-Burge now with the latest.
This week, a major breakthrough for Ukraine in the northeast. Its forces advancing quickly through the Russian lines. Wrecked Russian vehicles lining the roads. Russian forces caught off guard, apparently in disarray. Ukrainian troops liberating cities and the Ukrainian flag flying once again. A senior Ukrainian official telling ABC News the operation was thoroughly planned and everything was running to schedule. And overnight, President Zelensky saying his forces
He's not a crooked
liberated
guy.
over 700 square miles of territory in
As
just the
all
past
brigade.
10 days,
Check him out.
claiming Russian troops were running away, calling it a good choice. And this, the biggest prize so far, Ukrainian forces entering the strategically important city of Izium. Without Izium, Putin's goal of capturing all of Ukraine's neighboring eastern Donbass region will be even harder. In newly liberated villages, Ukrainian police digging up bodies. Fresh war crimes investigations now underway. This week, Ukrainian military command saying drones are playing a crucial role in counter-offensives in the east and the south. We're with a Ukrainian reconnaissance unit just outside Zaporizhia. And these guys' main job is to work out where the Russian positions are so they can call in the strikes. And this morning, a real sense of crisis at the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant. The last remaining reactor shut down overnight. Shelling in the area, cutting off the last remaining external power supply. So the plant is now only stable because of diesel generators and the risk of a nuclear catastrophe real.
Oh, yeah.
The UN's nuclear watchdog, with officials now based at the plant, with this desperate appeal.
A nuclear power plant can never be a pawn of war. Its fate must not be decided by military means.
Yeah, Martha, what's striking about this advance is the speed at which the Ukrainian military has been taking territory. It also seems that the Ukrainians have captured a ton of abandoned Russian military equipment and ammo, another sign that the Russians left in a hurry. This is a protracted war. It probably has a long way to run, but this is a really big moment. Martha?
All right, folks, so that is ABC News talking about the war in Ukraine. Ukrainians are pushing the Russians back. Russians, they're going to do something. They're going to fight back against this. They're not going to give up too easily. So, tactical nukes, right? That's one thing that people are talking about, tactical nukes. Be advised, that's going to happen. Possibly, maybe. I hope not. The Americans won't do nothing, though. If that's my prediction. If tactical nukes are used, Americans, and I'm talking about the Biden administration and this Congress, they won't do anything. All right, let's share another article. Here it is. This is out of Metro. It's a British online newspaper. September 10th, Russia in retreat. Thousands flee key cities after surprise Ukrainian advances. And there they are. Ukrainian troops have stormed through several Russian-occupied cities. Thousands of Russian troops have retreated in the face of Ukraine's lightning-fast blitzkrieg counteroffensive in the northeast of the country. For days, Ukrainian troops have been advancing through Kharkiv in a military operation that could be a turning point in the nearly 7-month-long war. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the Metro. So yeah, Russians are retreating. Some are saying they're out of ammo. There's that game that we play during wartime is propaganda, right? That's happening. But then you play the propaganda. What else is going to happen? We have to stay tuned to that because Russia is not going to give up. They're not going to give up, folks. We'll share another article. We'll start whipping through these. Here's another one. Newsweek. Ukraine humiliating Putin as Russians flee and retreat. Former ambassador. Well, if Russia is being humiliated and Putin's being humiliated, don't you believe something big is on the horizon? I think so. Former U.S. Ambassador to Russia, Michael McFaul, said that Ukraine's military is humiliating Russia President Vladimir Putin, as Ukrainian officials said Sunday that they had advanced within 30 miles of the Russian border in the Kharkiv region. That was a big, big deal. It is. It's a big deal. Well, I didn't know this. CIA director says war in Ukraine exposed weakness of Russian military. Huh. Ukrainian warriors are humiliating Putin and his generals. We're just going down this article here, folks. Wow. I didn't say folks as many times as I did on the last video. Don't start a drinking game. Don't do it. Every time Matt says folks, take a drink of alcohol. Don't do it, folks. Don't do it. All right. Let's keep trucking. Let's keep trucking. Oh, so we're gonna switch gears. This is a wild story that just came out. It's out of the Guardian. Guns bought through credit cards in the U.S. will now be trackable. Well, how else? Okay, welcome. Let's see here. Some of you may remember that there was a change shortage during a certain period of time within the last 2 years. Some will remember if you go to an amusement park, it's card only. You can't pay cash. So we're moving away from a cash society into a cashless society. Some will maybe remember that the IRS was trying to track purchases over, I believe it was $600. Okay, this is all stuff you can look up. You don't have to believe me. And now, so as we're moving from a cash society to a cashless society, that's been a plan for a very long time. Guns bought through credit cards in the U.S. will now be trackable. A new ISO-approved measure will also allow sharing of suspicious purchases with law enforcement. What classifies suspicious? Probably according to these folks, every purchase of a weapon is suspicious. Let's move down here. Credit card purchases of firearms in the U.S. can now be tracked, and purchases deemed suspicious, whatever that means, can even be shared with law enforcement. Oh, isn't that cute? According to a new measure approved by an organization that sets parameters for business transactions. The International Organization for Standardization, ISO, voted in favor, of course they did, of creating a merchant code for firearms stores, according to Reuters. Every firearms dealer in America should never go cashless. And if they do, don't shop there. Shop at only the folks that will take your cash. You can get cash from your credit card, and, well, they'll probably track that too. But wow, folks, you can read this whole article. I'm not going to go through it. I'm going to give you guys some homework to do too. Go over to the Guardian, check it out, type in this headline, guns bought through credit cards and the U.S. will now be trackable. Yeah. Welcome to the new world order. It's real. It's real. That dude was right about some things. All right, let's keep on trucking. We're at 40 minutes. We need to keep on trucking. Next article, I'm going to play a video from our friend over at Fox News.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson. Tonight, Queen Elizabeth II died today in Scotland, as you likely know, at the age of 96. She was the longest-serving monarch in British history. She was born in one world and died in another. It's not easy to maintain your dignity while living in the public eye. Most of us could not pull it off for an afternoon. Queen Elizabeth did it for more than 70 years. I want to ask you all, she wrote shortly before her coronation in 1953, whatever your religion may be, to pray for me on that day, to pray that God may give me wisdom and strength to carry out the solemn promises I shall be making, and that I may faithfully serve him and you all the days of my life.
Amen.
For the most part, she did just that, and that was not a small achievement given the period she lived in. The week that Elizabeth was coronated, Edmund Hillary, a British subject from New Zealand, a beekeeper, became the first man in history to summit Mount Everest. The achievement seemed symbolic at the time, Britain on top of the world. But in fact, Britain was already over, whether the British knew it or not. To this day, Britain claims to have won both of the 20th century's world wars, but together they destroyed that nation forever. After victory came humiliation. The empire evaporated, and along with it, Britain's self-confidence and ultimately its self-respect. It's hard to believe now, but Britain wasn't always a regional banking center / refugee camp. It was a real place with a history and a language and a culture and a genuinely remarkable people. A country in the North Atlantic the size of Alabama that somehow took over the world and ruled it with decency unmatched by any empire in human history. The British Empire was not perfect, but it was far more humane than any other, ever. It's gone now, barely even remembered. Queen Elizabeth II was the last living link to a truly great Britain. Today on social media, the usual ghouls celebrated her death. Quote, may her pain be excruciating, a Carnegie Mellon professor called Uju Anya wrote on Twitter of the Queen. May she die in agony.
Jeez.
Various know-nothings in the media, including a columnist at The Atlantic and a couple of employees of NBC News, seconded that thought. The British Empire was evil, they wrote, apparently totally unaware of what came after it. And speaking of what did come after the British Empire, how, for example, did Africa fare after the British left? Let's see. Uganda got Idi Amin, who was a cannibal. Rhodesia became Zimbabwe and then became the poorest country on the planet under the racist lunatic Robert Mugabe. As of tonight, South Africa is still being run into the ground by an incompetent kleptocrat called Cyril Ramaphosa. So it's hard to see any of that as an improvement because it's not an improvement. Sorry, Atlantic Magazine. And now, of course, the entire continent of Africa has a new master, the Chinese government. China is the latest colonial power to dominate Africa. Its subjects will be pining for the British soon, assuming they are not already.
China's the real
In
one.
an ideal world, there would not be empires, no empires, only sovereign nations. But we don't have that world, and we never have had that world, going back to at least the Assyrians, 1,400 years before Christ. In the real world, the one that we live in, strong countries dominate weak countries, and that trend shows no sign of changing. The very least you can say about the English is that they took their colonial responsibilities seriously. They didn't just take things, they added. When the U.S. government withdrew from Afghanistan after 20 years, we left behind airstrips, shipping containers, and guns. When the British pulled out of India, they left behind an entire civilization, a language, a legal system, schools, churches, and public buildings, all of which are still in use today. Here's the train station the English built in Bombay, for example. There's nothing like that in Washington, D.C. right now, much less in Kabul or Baghdad. Today, India is far more powerful than the UK, the nation that once ruled it. And yet, after 75 years of independence, has that country produced a single building as beautiful as the Bombay train station that the British colonialists built? No, sadly, it has not. Not one. So despite what they may be claiming on Twitter tonight, the British Empire was more than just genocide. In fact, the British did not commit genocide, except arguably against the Dutch during the Boer War. The British did give the world the Magna Carta and habeas corpus and free speech. They helped end the transatlantic slave trade, as well as the ritual murder of widows in India. The British Empire spread Protestant Christianity to the entire world. It published some of the greatest literature ever written and produced the finest manufactured goods ever made anywhere at any time, including now. It was an impressive place run by impressive people. We will see many empires going forward, but we will never see one so benign. That's true. And because it's true, the people who would like to run the world in a far harsher way would like to make certain that you don't know it. And so they destroy the evidence that ever existed. Here they are tearing down a statue of a British philanthropist in the UK 2 years ago.
This is so stupid.
Destroy the statue, erase the memory.
Jeez.
That's why they're
Churchill?
doing it. Slander the ruler, discredit the entire period she lived in. And that's exactly why they're attacking Queen Elizabeth tonight. Not because she was a bad person. She wasn't a bad person. But because she lived during a better time.
All right. There it is, folks. You know, I'm an American first guy. So when the Queen passed away, I wasn't, it is what it is. But Tucker made a really good case historically. And I think we need to take note of that. I like Tucker Carlson. Sue me. Don't sue me. Yeah, if you want to, I don't care. All right, let's see here. We're moving right along. All right, next article. Oh, this it's another one from the Metro. Now look where Great Britain's at now. All right, Great Britain's at the statue tearing down place. Now you have King Charles, who is the Green Wizard, who loves green energy. Let's see where we're. Whoa! Woman arrested after holding abolish monarchy sign in Edinburgh. A woman was arrested holding an anti-monarchy sign in Edinburgh today before the Queen's cortege arrived in the city. Huh. You can check that out over at the Metro. But Tucker just said that Great Britain gave us free speech. Tucker Carlson, you didn't look at that story. She was detained outside of St. Gilles Cathedral while the monarch's coffin is due to be held from tomorrow after spending the night at the Palace of Holyrood House. Moments before the proclamation of Charles III as new king this afternoon. Okay, so this happened a few days ago. But wow. No. Apparently it happened today. You can read that article. What's this down here? Oh, God Save the King. Meet the booze during Edinburgh proclamation. Should we watch?
God save the king!
Oh, Lord have mercy. They booed. Boo! Folks, people do not like Charles and his brother Andrew. What did Andrew do? Andrew and what's that guy that didn't hang himself in New York? I don't know. You can think about it. Hello? Oh. No. Broom, broom. All right, we're going to keep on trucking. Keep on rocking in a free world. Oh, boy. Huh. Did we hit them all? I think we may have hit all the stories. So we did. We're at the end of this broadcast. I appreciate you watching it. Please subscribe to the channel. I'm going to do more every Sunday. Hope you enjoy it. I'm going to try to find some good news stories to point out. We're going to stick in Ohio. We're going to stick on Ukraine. And I'm going to keep bringing stories out. And then we're going to go in with some other, whatever pops up. We're going to follow it. We're also even going to be hitting some things out in the world, bringing you folks stories that maybe you've not heard of. So I appreciate you downloading the audio podcast, watching the videos. Thank you. Share with a friend. Leave comments. Do all that stuff. truepodcast@gmail.com if you want to email us something. But we're going to end with this. For you have been called to live in freedom, and my brothers and sisters, but don't use your freedom to satisfy your sinful nature, because I believe we all have a sinful nature. Instead, use your freedom to serve one another in love. Well, I agree with that. First, serve God. Then we should serve one another in love. Now, we can talk about politics all day long. We can talk about it, and we can be convicted in what we believe in. But at the end of the day, we need to love each other. Okay? Don't get too heated. Right now, there's a lot of politicians trying to pit you against each other. They're trying to get you to fight each other. Don't do it. Just simply agree to disagree, but keep fighting the good fight. You can fight politically. And you can fight hard politically to win what we need to win. But do it peacefully. All right. I'm Matt Truman. This is Truman's Town Hall, Sunday Night Live. And I thank you for watching.